Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. That's the name of our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Your brother War Dog Rakab out of Sakari, Atlanta. And just coming to you through the Spirit. And we're going to deal with sin and how that takes place and affects our lives on a daily basis. You know, while we're living and breathing, we ought to know the things that we can do and the things that we can't do in our bodies, right? In these vessels of ours, prior to us departing from earth, right? So we're going to start off with that. Grab my 1611, but I got one here. This is the book of Matthew. Okay, it's not a New Testament, right? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 17. It says, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets," right? So here it's telling us that he's not coming to destroy the law or the prophets, right? This is Christ speaking. It says, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill." Okay, so to fulfill, the fulfillment part is kind of like separating his purpose. Okay, what he's come to do, right? Because he didn't come to destroy the law or the prophets. What did he come to do? Was he came to fulfill. Okay, he came to fulfill his duty as far as his death, his burial and resurrection. Okay, so let's get a support and precept for that. Okay. This is the book of Acts, chapter 3. Verse 18, it says, "But those things which God before has showed by the mouth of all his prophets." There again, he didn't come to destroy the prophets either, right? Because in Isaiah 8 and 20 says, by the law and the prophets, right? If they spoke not concerning that word, then there was no light in them, right? Again, it says, "But those things which God before has showed by the mouth of all his prophets that Christ should suffer, he hath so fulfilled," right? So this is what he came to fulfill with his sufferings. All right, so let's go back. It says, verse 18, "For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled." And we can clearly see that there's things even in the Old Testament that hasn't even been fulfilled, right? The so-called Old Testament, because I look at the old and new right, as one and the same. We just have now prophets in the so-called New Testament teaching what the old prophets was teaching the children of Israel. All right. So we have him saying till in no wise we should take away from the law, right? In no wise one jot or one tittle, right? Meaning not even a dot from your I's and your T's being taken away from the law. All right. So let's why? Because it's these laws are grounded for the children of Israel forever. Okay, and we're going to get support and precept for that. This is the book of Baruch. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1, it says, "This is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth forever, the law that endureth forever, all they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. So we're seeing here that it's just saying that these laws are abiding with the children of Israel forever. Okay, and so now begs the question: what if they're abiding? If these laws are abiding forever, what are we doing when we don't keep these laws? You know, which we think are done away with, right? The Christian church will tell everybody the only laws you got to keep is to love God and to love your neighbor. Well, yeah, that's some of them, but this Bible consists of 613 laws that you can transgress. You know, if you love the Lord, you will learn those laws to learn how not to transgress, right? So let's deal with that, right? First John chapter 3 and verse 4, it says, whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law. All right, so if you committing sin, you're transgressing the law. It says, for sin is the transgression of the law. So you have to know the laws in order to know what you're transgressing. You have to know that these laws were given to a specific people to not transgress. Now it doesn't say that these laws were done away with, right? It's the transgressing of sins, and this is the New Testament. So we had to know emphatically that we are keeping these laws, right? Because without where there's no law, sin doesn't exist. You understand? So let's go to since we're in First John, this is First John chapter 2 and verse 3. First John, no, Salakia, that's not what I'm looking for. Now I'll read verse 3. It says, and hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. Now you know the Lord if you're keeping his law, statutes, and commandments, because they come from him. All right. It says, he that saith I know him and keepeth not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. So if you're not keeping the commandments of the Lord, then you are a liar to say that you know God. All right. All right. So let's another precept I want to share. This is in the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 22. It says, for if ye shall diligently keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to love the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to cleave unto him, then will the Lord drive out all these nations from before you, and ye shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourselves. So when the law of the children of Israel was given these laws to keep them, and if they would diligently keep them and hearken unto them, the Lord was going to give them nations, right, to serve them, right? So the responsibility for the Israelites was to serve the Lord with all their heart, right? Walk in his ways with all their might, right? Let's grab that real quick. It was back in 10 and 12. It says, and the Lord, it says, and now Israel, what doth the Lord require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. So we are to serve the Lord by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, and in doing so, we would be rewarded with the Lord giving us these other nations, right, to serve us. All right. So Yeah, let me finish reading that out right in verse 22. To walk in all his ways and to cleave unto him. Then the Lord will drive out all these nations before you, and ye shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourselves. Every place whereon the sole of your feet shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even unto the uttermost sea shall your coast be. Right, and I'm going to skip down to verse 26. It says, behold, I set before you this day blessing and a curse. So here's where we start understanding, if you didn't keep these laws, statutes, commandments, that a curse was going to be put upon you, right? It says, verse 27, a blessing if ye obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you this day. Right? And verse 28 says, and a curse if ye will not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside out of the way which I command you this day to go after other gods which ye have not known. Because the children of Israel knew of Yahweh in the wilderness. When Yahweh spoke, they was afraid, and they told Moses, please speak to us, lest we die, right? So we knew and we feared the Lord. Okay. Right. So it's really important that we get that understanding, because we had to listen, we have to hearken unto the Lord, right, and walk in all his ways, to show we truly love the Lord. Because a lot of people say with their mouth, and their hearts is far from loving God, man. Every day, you even have other nations we will follow after, and we'll follow after their customs. And God said that this is what was going to happen, because we're serving their gods, right? So this is, let me make sure. Shalakia, out of a precept. Couple scriptures here. Okay, yeah, this is 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 37. And it says, I'll start at verse 33 for the context. It says, they feared the Lord and served their own gods after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. It says, unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not the Lord, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel. Right. Because we didn't hearken diligently, right? We didn't hearken diligently unto the Lord to keep his commandments. So that's where we ended up getting a curse rather than a blessing. Okay. Verse 35 says, with whom the Lord hath made a covenant, and charged them, saying, ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them, right? Because Exodus 20 and verse 2 gives an understanding that we weren't to bow down to them, right? Let's get that real quick. This is Exodus, right? Chapter 20 and verse 5. Let's start with verse 4. It says, verse 3. It says, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord, thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities upon the fathers, upon the children, Salaki, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So we weren't to make these molten idols, right? These graven images, and worship them. Okay, and then we weren't to bow ourselves to these images, because then that was a form of idolatry, right? Okay, so let's go back to 2 Kings, and I left off verse 35. It says, with whom the Lord hath made a covenant, and charged them, saying, ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. But the Lord, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with a great power and a stretched out arm, him shall ye fear, and him shall ye worship, and to him shall ye do sacrifice. And the statutes and the ordinances and the law and the commandment which he wrote for you, ye shall observe to do forevermore. Now, I ain't just say it was done away with. He said forevermore, and ye shall not fear other gods. And that's giving us the understanding that we had to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and we're not to serve no other God. We're not to serve Allah, right? We're not to serve Jesus Christ. We're not to serve a Buddha, whatever God y'all choosing over Yahweh, right? It says, verse 38, and the covenant that I have made with you, ye shall not forget, neither shall ye fear other gods. But the Lord your God, which is Yahweh, ye shall fear, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. And that's where we come to draw the conclusion that we are still in our captivity. Okay, we're still in slavery, and we're still under the hand of our enemies. Okay. Now let's go to the book of Second Esdras. This is Second Esdras, the second chapter, and verse 40 says, take thy number, O Zion, and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of the Lord. Right? It says, the number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Lord, that thy people which have been called from the beginning may be hallowed. And these are talking about the seal, the election that are going to be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, right? But Salakia, I jumped the gun, but that's good that I did go there, because it's talking about that there are going to be people that's going to be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Those are going to be the blessed ones. And then that leads me to go back to Revelations, the 14th chapter and the 12th verse. It says, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Right. So these are them that are actually being sealed. Sealed, right? These are the ones that are going to be clothed in white, right? Which have fulfilled the law of the Lord. Beseeching the power of the Lord is them getting their spiritual powers back, right? Getting their glorified bodies back, right? Because these vessels that we're in, we're prone to being sick, right? We're out here in 2021 catching COVID-19. They said the global number of deaths of this COVID-19 thing reached 5 million, right? So say 5 million people are dying from this thing, right? But ultimately, we know if we serve the Lord, that he will take the sickness from us. And let me grab that real quick while we're here. This is Exodus chapter 23 and verse 25. It says, and ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. Right. So that's what we have to understand, not to fear this virus that's going around plaguing everybody, and everybody's getting all afraid, when we need to be fearing the Lord, right? So we don't get hit with those plagues, right? Right. Revelations 18:4 says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, and be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Right, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. So we're supposed to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, right? If the Lord is remembering her sins, meaning all the transgressions that he stated before in the Torah, and throughout the scriptures, we were supposed to follow. Now those that aren't following are getting plagued. Okay. All right, let's get another one. Revelations chapter 22 and verse 14 says, blessed are they that do his commandments, that he may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates of the city. Right. That's what we're striving for. That's what our heart's desire is, to enter into the gates of the kingdom. Okay. So now, but we know ultimately we had to, being an Israelite, I always like to mention, it's not just having that title. We have a responsibility, right? We have an obligation with the Heavenly Father to do these things where we are, in our lives. So let's go here to back to Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, and verse 6. It says, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Right. So those other nations that's watching the children of Israel keep the law, statutes, and commandments are who God said he was going to give us. Right. He was going to give us those other nations. Okay. And let's skip down to verse 40. It says, thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee this day, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days upon the earth, which the Lord thy God hath given thee forever. So these things, these law, statutes, and commandments are never to be done away with. Right, they're never to be done away with. These is what's going to cover us. These is what's going to keep the Lord, knowing who his holy people are, right? His set apart, right? His chosen, okay? Because the children of Israel was a special people unto him, unto himself, right? So let me get another precept on that. This is Matthew. Chapter 5 and verse 40, it says, and if any man will sue thee at the law and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. So the Lord is basically saying, you all want to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, man. You need this covering, okay? You're going. In the hope of salvation, we hope for. We hope for all of our people as well, okay? And so we have to walk in the commandments. to the best of our ability, man. This is what we should be striving to do in these vessels of ours. Okay. Let's got another precept. Okay, this is 2 John. Yeah, this is 2 John, and the 6th verse says, "And this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment that is ye that as ye have heard from the beginning, ye should walk in it." So we gotta know what is the love. You love God, you're going to keep his commandments, right? That's here also in 1 John. Yeah, chapter 5, verse 2 says, "By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous." So it's important for us to know when we say we love God, how we are loving the Most High by keeping the commandments. Okay. All right, and it's not hard. It's not hard to, wear fringes. Wear the tassels. Throughout, it says throughout our generation, right? So something that we can also remember, that we had to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, so let's go here. I have Psalms chapter 40 and verse 8. This is King David. Says, "I delight to do thy will, O my God, yea, the law is within my heart." Right, so it said we had to love the Lord thy God with all our heart. So King David is stating that it was a delight to do the laws, right, which it was in his heart. He delighted to do that, man. And when you find out that when you're keeping the law and you're praying, you're fasting, you have a sense of consciousness that is uplifting all the burdens and all the heartaches and just the confusion that you may have in life. You walk lighter, knowing that you're serving the Lord to the best of your ability, right, and doing what he's telling you to do, because when you're doing what he's telling you to do, now you have the faith that what he promised for you, for the children of Israel, you walked the walk to obtain that promise. A lot of people are wanting the promises and they're not doing the work. Well, faith without works is dead, right? Faith without works is dead. We had to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and have faith that we will be delivered from the hands of our enemies. And a lot of people aren't really understanding that concept. They feel that all they need to know is Jesus Christ and not keep his law, statutes, and commandments. So there's nothing new about these law, statutes, and commandments. And a lot of times, the Christian church will have you believe that, the Old Testament was done away with. So the new laws was just those two. They'll like to bring out those two that I mentioned earlier, just loving the Lord and loving your neighbor, right? But here we just saw in the New Testament, if you love him, that you keep his commandments. Okay, so let's go here to 1 John. Oops. Back to 1 John. And Let's read chapter 2 and verse 7. It says, Brethren, I write no new commandment unto you, but an old commandment which ye have from the beginning, The old commandment is the word which ye have heard from the beginning. And again, a new commandment I write unto you, which thing is true in him and in you, because the darkness is past and the true light now shineth. Right? So once you have those law, statutes, and commandments in your heart, you're keeping them, right? You're keeping the true light, which you're shining before men, because he didn't come to destroy that. He came to fulfill his part by seeing his people that follow, right? It says, he saith he is in the light and hateth his brother is in darkness, even until now, right? He that loveth his brother abideth in the light, and there is none occasion of stumbling in him. So you have to understand, being in the light, which is dealing with the law. The law is the lamp unto our feet. So we're walking in that light. If you're not walking after the laws, you're in darkness, because anything that is not of God, it's ungodly, right? Right? And you don't want to transgress the Most High, man. You know that moving towards the Most High is the only way you can walk towards the Most High is through the law, right? It's to the law, man. Because let's get let me get that real quick. Slovakia. Okay, yeah, this is Psalms 119 and 105. It says, Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Right? So we know he had to walk that path to the Lord. And the only way you're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments is because you said you love the Lord. So we saying we love the Lord, his words are a lamp to us, right? And he is the way, he is the light. Okay? So where was I? Verse 9 says, He that said he is in the light and hateth his brother is in darkness, even until now, because the law tells you to not hate your brother in your heart. So if you hate your brother, you're not walking in light. You are actually in darkness, right? So these law, statutes, and commandments ultimately is for the betterment of our soul, okay? Right, let's get that, man. While I mentioned it, this is the book of Proverbs. The book of Proverbs, chapter 8 and verse 36. It says, But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. So if you not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and you're transgressing, the scripture says the wages of sin is death. Okay. All right, so there's a few things I wanted to bring out. Let me get one more for you. All right, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 25. It says, This shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all the commandments before the Lord our God, as he commanded us, man. And that's the pretty much the concept that we need to understand, is we have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, which will be our righteousness, All right. So I hope this was edifying and wanted to be too long. We'll go into this topic again. There's so many precepts in the Bible we can go into about keeping the law, statutes, commandments. We'll just keep it at a part 1, and Lord willing, we'll bring out a part 2. All right, so with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahshai, and say shalom.